Alright, so the Yankees' deadline this year was essentially replacing Jimmy Cordero, who's off the team as of about a month ago, and they replaced him with a rental reliever, Keenan Middleton, and that's what they did. Besides that, they stood pat, and I am quite lost on where the future of this organization is. Now, if Brian Cashman is let go, or fired in the first year of his 4-year extension, come the end of this season, all will be forgiven. That's what has to be done. I think that's who is ultimately at fault for what this Yankee core has turned into and what pretty much the majority of the 2000s has been. And my era as a Yankee fan, right around since 2011, has been nothing but a constant disappointment. And here we go again. Now, up until about 2 weeks ago, honestly, a week ago, I was ready for the Yankees to put as big of a band-aid as possible on this season. While not totally risking the future and mortgaging the entire farm system, I was down to pick up a couple rental pieces, particularly Cody Bellinger I was down for, even Randall Grichuk if he had to go that route, and, bolster this team as much as possible without, once again, mortgaging the future. After the last week or so, losing 2 out of 3 in Baltimore, Game 1 in Tampa Bay, and just overall how poorly this team has looked and played, I was actually getting excited at the idea of possibly selling. Now, they don't have all that much to sell. Harrison Bader was a name, a couple pitchers, relievers they may could have dealt. The big one would have been Gleyber Torres if they did sell him because he still has a year control for next year. That would have been flashing signs, all right, we are selling, we are doing a full-on retool as much as possible. I was anticipating that. I was excited about that because at least then you're not in a gray area. You kind of know what you're doing. Now, I'm just concerned about the future and the present because the Yankees haven't done anything. They stood pat at the deadline. Sure, you're 3.5 games out. You're technically still in the race, but even if you get in, which I'm starting to lose hope about that, and you guys know how optimistic I am, even if you get in, is this team doing anything in the postseason? No, probably not. What happens in 2024? Are you telling me we're going to go in with the roster still having DJ LeMahieu and Anthony Rizzo on the corners? Still not going to have a left fielder? They were in talks with Dylan Carlson, who wouldn't have been, a premier box office move, but I would have at least liked him because you would have 3 years of control, I believe. He essentially would have replaced Harrison Bader, who, that's another missed opportunity. I mean, the way it's looking right now, you would think the Yankees are probably going to let Bader go. I wouldn't give him a long-term deal. So with that said, he had suitors, he had offers, and they held on to him. As bummed out as I am about this season, today's the day that even if your team is in a bad spot, no matter what, this is where you send fans a message and let them know, okay, this may not have worked out, but this is where we're headed. This is the direction we're going to take things. And the Yankees didn't do that at all today. And instead, we are left wondering what's in store for the future. I know I've never felt more lost as a Yankee fan. I feel very defeated. I mean, this is the first time I don't see much light at the end of the tunnel. And the reason for that is because Brian Cashman, I don't think, is going anywhere. And he's ultimately who's at fault here. We can criticize Boone as much as we want, who, yes, has made some bad decisions, but I ultimately don't believe he's the reason why the Yankees are where they are. Hal Steinbrenner, his main fault is keeping Cashman around, but in the end, and I say this all the time, you give a GM $290 million payroll, there's no shot that, first of all, that they should be 55-51, 4 games over and in last place in your division, but at least winning divisions year after year. I mean, we have 2 division titles since 2013, we have 2 division titles. We've been a wildcard team plenty, we've missed the playoffs plenty, really. Haven't made the World Series once, with a $290 million payroll. So while, yes, Hal isn't perfect, and he's, obsessed with Cashman, married to the dude, I guess, in the end, Brian Cashman should be able to do something with the amount of money he's given. And he doesn't, every single year. And we are probably at the low point of at least my 10 years of being a fan. And it's crazy how far we've come. The peak for me, like many of you, I'm sure, that are around my age, was, after the 2013 to 2014, 2015, 2016 era, which I consider to be the dark ages, contending but not making the playoffs for the most part, aging stars, but the Yankees were getting by. And it finally was paying off because come 2017 and on, we had a fresh new core ready to go. Game 7 of the ALCS, you got to get Giancarlo Stanton. After that, you'll have Bryce Harper, Manny Machado available as well. It seemed like everything was painted perfectly for the Yankees to go on a run. And this is what they said, not one championship, but multiple championships. Since then, it's all been downhill, and I'm just kind of depressed. And I know you guys are too. Maybe it'll get better. It'll get better if Brian Cashman is fired. I'll leave it at that. Maybe Hal will grow some balls. With how this core has turned out, how long it's been now since we have won a World Series, and the fact that you just gave him a 4-year extension after an ALCS appearance, we pretty much barely upgraded the team. And the first year of that deal, right now, his team is 4 games over 500. Unfathomable to me that Hal Steinbrenner would at least consider firing him. Hey, on the K show a couple weeks ago, he did say, not a couple weeks ago, it's been a couple months at this point, that if they miss the playoffs or get bounced, whatever it was, he'll ask some tough questions. What that means, I don't know, but the tough question, the tough, definitive answer has to be firing Brian Cashman. He is the issue here. Until then, that little glimmer of hope I usually always have, and honestly, most of the times it's pretty big. Easy for me to be optimistic, which is why it's so crazy right now that I'm at this point. It's such a little glimmer of hope. And the longer Cashman stays around, I don't think I'm alone in saying this, it's just going to keep dying out, slowly but surely. Hell, not even slowly anymore, because it's going pretty fucking fast. Sorry, did not mean to curse. I'm trying to get better at that. The Yankees race tonight. I guess we're, technically going all in on the 2023 season. Keenan Middleton, let's go. I've ended this video 4 or 5, maybe 6 times now. I'll see you guys next time. Let's go, Yankees. It'll all be okay. Maybe.
Her body's gone like September. She burns through the night like an ember. And all those things we tried forgetting, I remember.